Let me tell you a story that changed my life and can change yours too. Years ago, I was walking through a park. It was a quiet, sunny day. As I strolled along, I saw an older man in his garden. Now, this was no ordinary garden. It was stunning. The flowers were vibrant, the plants stood tall, and everything seemed to be in perfect harmony. I couldn't help but stop and admire his work. I said to him, "Your garden is beautiful, sir." He smiled, gave a little chuckle, and then said something that stuck with me. "Well, it wasn't always this way. It used to be full of weeds until I decided to take control of it." And right there, in that moment, it clicked. Life is a lot like that garden, isn't it? Our minds are the soil, and what grows there depends entirely on what we plant and how we care for it. It's not a one-time process. It's ongoing, just like tending to a garden. If we plant negativity, fear, and doubt, that's exactly what we'll get more of. But if we plant seeds of positivity, discipline, and growth, well, life can bloom in ways we never imagined. Now think about this for a moment. The major value in life isn't what you get. It's not the material possessions, the job titles, or even the accolades. The major value in life is what you become. And if you want to become more, to reach higher levels of success, happiness, and fulfillment, it all starts in one place, your mind. That's where the journey begins. It's where the foundation is laid. You see, your mind is like a factory. It's constantly producing thoughts. It doesn't shut down, ever. But here's the question. What kind of product is it turning out? Is it churning out thoughts of success, ambition, and possibilities? Or is it manufacturing fear, doubt, and limitations? You have to ask yourself this because your thoughts create your reality. And let me tell you, you are the factory owner. You hold the keys. You decide what gets produced in that mental factory of yours. Yet most people don't even realize it. They've handed the keys to someone else. They let the news, social media, friends, co-workers, sometimes even strangers, dictate what they think, how they feel, and ultimately how they live. Now let's be honest for a second. We've all been there, haven't we? We've all had moments when life felt overwhelming, moments when it seemed like our thoughts were spiraling out of control, and we were just along for the ride. But here's the good news. You don't have to stay in that place. You can take back control, and when you do, everything changes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jim, that sounds great, but how do I do that? How do I take control of my mind? Well, it's not easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do, but it's also the most rewarding. When you master your mind, you master your life. Let me tell you about a young man I met years ago. His name was Tom. Tom was what you'd call a chronic worrier. He worried about everything: his job, his relationships, his future. If there was something to worry about, Tom found it. Now, one day I sat Tom down and asked him a question. I said, "Tom, do you realize that worrying is like paying interest on a debt you might never owe?" Tom just stared at me for a moment, and I could see the wheels turning in his head. That simple question had never crossed his mind. For him, worrying was just part of life. It was something he thought he had no control over, like breathing or sleeping. But in that moment, something shifted for Tom. He realized that he had a choice. He didn't have to worry. He could choose a different path. So Tom decided to take control of his mind. He started practicing what I call mental discipline. Every time a worrisome thought popped into his head, he made a conscious effort to replace it with a positive one. Now, at first, this was hard for him. It felt unnatural. He had spent years letting his mind run on autopilot, reacting to every situation with worry. But as the weeks went by, something incredible happened. Tom began to see changes in his life. His relationships improved. His work performance skyrocketed, and he even got a promotion. Within a year, Tom was happier and more successful than he had ever been, all because he decided to take control of his thoughts. Now, am I saying that Tom never worried again? Of course not. We're all human. We all have moments of doubt and fear. But Tom learned how to manage those thoughts, how to direct his mind toward productive, positive outcomes, instead of letting it spiral into negativity. And that's what I want for each and every one of you. I want you to become the master of your mind, because when you control your mind, there's no limit to what you can achieve. So how do we do it? How do we take control of this powerful tool between our ears? I'm glad you asked. Let me give you a few strategies that have worked time and time again. First, you've got to become aware of your thoughts. This might sound simple, but most people go through life on autopilot. They're not even aware of the constant stream of thoughts running through their minds. But awareness is the first step to change. You can't fix what you don't see. Start by paying attention to your thoughts. Notice the patterns. Are you focusing on what's possible? Or are you fixated on what's wrong? Are your thoughts empowering you or holding you back? Once you become aware of your thoughts, the next step is to challenge them. Just because a thought pops into your head doesn't mean it's true. Your mind has a funny way of filtering the world around you. Sometimes it latches onto ideas that aren't useful, ideas that don't serve you. So, when a negative thought comes in, don't just accept it, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or hurting me? Is it moving me closer to my goals or further away? If it's not helping, let it go. And that brings us to the third step. Replace those negative thoughts with positive ones. Now, I'm not talking about ignoring reality or pretending that everything is perfect. That's not what this is about. It's about choosing to focus on what's constructive, what's useful, and what's going to help you grow. If you find yourself thinking, I'll never be able to do this, replace it with, I'm going to figure this out. If you catch yourself saying, I'm not good enough, replace it with, I'm getting better every day. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, Jim, this sounds simple, but it's not easy. And you're absolutely right. It's not easy. But let me ask you this. When has anything worth having in life ever been easy? The good news is, just like any skill, the more you practice, the better you get. It might be tough in the beginning. You might slip up. You might have days when it feels like your mind is running the show and you're just trying to keep up. But stick with it. Keep practicing. Keep planting those seeds of positivity, discipline, and growth. And I promise you, over time, you'll start to notice a difference. Your mental garden will start to bloom. You'll see improvements in your work, in your relationships, in your health. Why? Because your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. When you change the way you think, you change the way you live. So as I wrap this up, I want to leave you with this. You are in control. You are the master of your mind. You hold the keys to the factory that produces your thoughts. And what you plant in your mind today will determine the quality of your life tomorrow. Don't leave it to chance. Don't let the world decide for you. Take control. Plant seeds of discipline, of possibility, of growth. And tend to your mind just like that old man tended to his garden. Because if you do, the rewards will be far beyond what you can even imagine. Life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you become. So take control, become more, and watch your life transform. Now let's go a little deeper, because I want to make sure you fully grasp the importance of this. We've talked about taking control of your thoughts, replacing the negative with the positive, and becoming more aware of what's happening in your mind. But let me tell you, this isn't a one-time thing. This isn't something you do for a week or two and then forget about. No, this is a lifelong practice. This is a discipline, like brushing your teeth or exercising. You wouldn't go a week without brushing your teeth, right? Well, you can't go a week without tending to your mind either. You see, your mind, just like that garden we talked about earlier, needs constant care. Even after you've pulled the weeds, they'll try to creep back in if you don't stay vigilant. Negative thoughts, limiting beliefs, doubts, they have a way of sneaking in, especially when life throws challenges at you. And let's be honest, life will throw challenges. That's a guarantee. But how you handle those challenges depends entirely on the condition of your mind. Think of your mental discipline like building a muscle. At first, it's tough. You'll feel resistance. You might think, why am I doing this? It's too hard. But just like with physical exercise, the more you do it, the stronger you get. And the stronger your mind becomes, the better you'll be at handling life's ups and downs. I want you to imagine the person you want to become, the person you know you can be. Maybe it's someone who's confident, successful, happy, and at peace. Maybe it's someone who takes life's challenges head on without flinching. Whatever that vision looks like for you, understand this: that person is within your reach. But to become that person, you've got to start here, with your mind. You've got to take control of your thoughts every single day. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 30 days, commit to becoming more aware of your thoughts. When negativity creeps in, challenge it. Replace it with something constructive. Stay disciplined. And at the end of those 30 days, I guarantee you'll feel a shift. You'll feel stronger, more in control, and more empowered to handle whatever life throws your way. Because when you take control of your mind, you take control of your life. And that's when the real magic happens.